Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study of the Urantia life. We're in section 7, paragraph 6, and that's on page 556 of the original book, if you have the original book. So let's, why don't you say a prayer and answer this time? Hello.
Keep our minds open and receptive to the information that is read and studied tonight. Thank you so much for this opportunity to feel together and to grow and knowledge and things to come. It is in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Dear, why don't you take that first paragraph there? Let me read over.
4. Few mortals ever dare to draw anything like the sum of personality credits established by the combined ministries of nature and grace. The majority of impoverished souls are truly rich, but they refuse to believe it.
This is kind of interesting because in another part of the book, it talks about the mercy credits. Remember that? The son's mercy credits. And they're talking here about the personality credits. So we obviously have a certain amount of credits by the universe, I guess, or by the deities to allow us to have nature and grace. And in not drawing on these things, we think we're impoverished, but in reality, we're actually rich, and we refuse to believe it. Isn't that interesting?
Can I ask you a question, Roger?
Yeah.
Are you kind of saying that, you know, we are all endowed with a personality, with something basic, natural that we come with?
Yeah.
Are you saying that not living up to that
Standard? Yeah.
yeah, standard,
That standard, yeah.
credits, even if we never worship God?
Even if we never worship God, we never truly take advantage of all the combined ministries of grace and nature that we have, that we come to the planet with.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so all of us have a certain amount of personality that gives us grace and caring and giving and those sort of things. And in that sense, we're rich all the time. We're overly rich. You know, we could be considered gazillionaires as far as mercy and grace go, right? But we never take advantage of that and use it for our fellow man, which is really sad, you know. Gary's going to be here. He's late. He's working, so said he'll be here later. Let y'all know. All right, let's go on to number 5. Rodney, would you take number 5?
Yes. Number 5, difficulties may challenge mediocrity and defeat the fearful, but they only stimulate the true child of the Most Highs.
Boy, that's a good one too. Okay, think of it this way. Think of all the challenges you have through your daily life, day after day after day after day. And through those challenges, if you're a mediocre person, you're going to let it get you down. You're going to get depressed. You're going to want to drink, smoke, all that stuff, right? But to the children of the Most High, what are they talking about? The children of the celestial government, us. It should stimulate us to go on and do better every day. You know, just work through it and keep going over and over and over again. And you have to experience that personally to know what they're talking about, right? Because there's no way around it. If you haven't had any difficulties in life, you haven't learned, you haven't lived, right? Period. True. Jane, would you take the next one?
Yes. 6, difficulties, oh, sorry,
No,
to
next one. Yeah.
next one. To enjoy privilege without abuse, to have liberty without license, to possess power and steadfastly refuse to use it for self-aggrandizement. These are the marks of high civilization.
What does that tell y'all? We're not very civilized, are we?
Now, stop bragging.
Yeah, we're not very civilized, not at all,
Roger,
right?
Roger, can
Yeah,
you hear me?
yeah,
Jesus was like that.
right. He was. He was. Think of the power he had. He could have used on this planet if he chose.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh my goodness, right? And that is the mark of a great civilization, to have that kind of power and refuse to use it for self aggrandizement, right? Think of all the politicians in every government that abuses this privilege over and over and over again. They go in with completely broke, some of them, and they come out billionaires, right? What would you call that? That would be self-aggrandizement, right? In other words, you're taking advantage of the situation to enriching yourself, and that is not a mark of a high civilization. So think of it this way. When we get to the mansion worlds and everything past that, we will be living in what? A high civilization. So these things like that will be a thing of the past for us. And that's why they want to teach us in the Urantia Moda section about this. So we'll recognize the difference, right? All right, and the next one I love too. I'll take one too, since there's only 4 of us. 7, blind and unforeseen accidents do not occur in the cosmos. Neither do the celestial beings assist the lower being who refuses to act upon his light of truth. So things just don't happen nilly-milly, do they? They happen for a reason. There's no such things as accidents in the cosmos. All right. And the celestial beings, you can pray all you want to, but they will not help you if you don't act on your own light of truth. What are they saying here? If you have no faith, you will get nothing done, right? Nothing at all. It's all about having faith. Jesus used to teach us over and over again, especially when he was talking about healing. Remember that? He says, if you have faith, you can do anything, right? All right. Let's go on to the next one, number 8. Diane, would you take number 8?
8. Effort does not always produce joy, but there is no happiness without intelligent effort.
So even though you're acting, sometimes it doesn't make you happy, right? Doesn't produce joy. But without making these efforts, we will never experience joy, okay? So it's the act that helps create the joy, and you will experience joy if you act, right? Not always, but most of the time, right? All right. Rodney, would you take number 9?
9, action achieves strength. Moderation eventuates in charm.
Everything in moderation, right? How many times have you heard that? Over and over and over again. We have to have a balanced personality. And one way to get that balanced personality is to do what? Act. You know, take a goal, work on it, make it work out. You look at your goal, you keep looking at your goal every day, and you do it. That's what they're talking about, moderation here. You moderately work on it over and over and over, and eventually you'll probably reach your goal. But what else does it create? It creates a charming personality, a balanced personality. That's why when we get to the mansion worlds, half of our time is spent working and half of our time is spent playing, right? Because we need the moderation of both, right? Okay. Number 10. Jane, would you take number 10?
Yes. Righteousness strikes the harmony chords of truth, and the melody vibrates throughout the cosmos, even to the recognition of the infinite.
So what's it telling us here? Righteousness is its reward in itself, right? To live a righteous life and live a life of truth, okay, that vibrates through the cosmos. And it goes out on even to God himself, right? All right.
Yes, you're
living-
saying, Roger, that's how prayers are answered.
That's exactly
When
how
you're
prayers are.
harmonized,
That's
you
right.
know, with the
Yep.
chord. Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right. Let's go on. Number 11. Diane, I'll take number 11, then you take the next one, David. Okay. 11. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh,
This is a sweet kitty.
she
Not during the
is.
meeting.
It was on Diane a minute ago, a second
Yeah.
ago.
That's Cotton. He's coming back to he's coming back over Diane there. There's Millie too. Isn't he a sweet looking kitty? He is.
pretty.
All right, number 11.
Snowflake.
Yeah, Snowflake. Hi, Millie.
Hey,
Uh,
Millie.
11. The weak indulge in resolutions, but the strong act. Life is but a day's work. Do it well. The act is ours and the consequences God. I used to have this printed out on a poster above my bed. I looked at it every night before I went to bed. Life is but a day's work. Do it well. We have to take action, right? You can make resolutions to do this or that or the other thing. You can do that all day long. It doesn't do a bit of good, does it? The only thing that matters is to do the work. Life is but a day's work. Do it well. Whatever you're doing, you do it well. You do your act, and the consequences is God's, right?
Quality work.
Already, that's right. So we already work, and we have to take ourselves out of the picture, right? That's the whole secret. We have to do it for the sake of God and for the sake of work itself, not for self-indulgence, right?
And for the sake of others.
For the sake of others. That's right, not for self. Well, if we could learn that one lesson, we would be way ahead, right? All right, Diane, would you take 12?
Not one of my favorites. 12. The greatest affliction of the cosmos is never to have been afflicted. Mortals only learn wisdom by experiencing tribulation.
Here we go. That is definitely true. You never learn wisdom unless you come up against some affliction or some tribulation, right?
I must be very wise.
I know. I think sometimes I must be getting to be the wisest man in the world.
You are very wise, though.
I remember once I heard a quote of Mother Teresa of Calcutta,
Uh-huh.
and she said something like what Rodney just said. I do know and believe that, God trusts us, and that's why we have challenges. I just wish he didn't have so much faith in me.
Oh, that's good.
Very diplomatic.
Yes, sir. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one?
13. Stars are best discerned from the lonely isolation of experiential depths, not from illuminated and ecstatic mountaintops.
So, boy, we ought to have a good view of the stars here, shouldn't we? Because we're isolated out here, that's for sure. Right. All right. Jane, would you take the next one?
Number 14. Whet the appetites of your associates for truth. Give advice only when it is asked for.
Boy, that's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah, it's hard to remember that
But
one.
Roger,
Yeah,
that's actually advice.
yeah, it really is.
But we
Very good
asked
advice.
for it. We asked for it,
Yes.
Rodney.
That's right. That's right. We did
We
ask for
opened the
it.
book.
Yeah, that's right. If you get this book, you're definitely asking for a lot. Think about it this way, y'all. Think of how unfulfilled your life would have been if you haven't discovered this book.
You're right.
Oh man,
Think
Yeah.
about it that way.
it sure has changed me.
It is. It's such a blessing, but it's like just like one above it, it makes life difficult too. If you know the things in this book and you know them well, you can see things going on around you. And all you can do is shake your head because you can't run around and beat people over the head with it. That's for sure, So
We can only make them curious, is what it is saying there.
that's right.
Whet
That's
their
it.
appetite.
That's right. All right. So who's next? Millie, would you take the next one? Did I skip over anybody?
Yes, is this number 15?
Yes, number 15.
Affectation is the ridiculous effort of the ignorant to appear wise, the attempt of the barren soul to appear rich.
Okay. The ignorant to appear wise. The ridiculous effort of the ignorant to appear wise. Boy, aren't we all a little bit guilty of this, in one way or another, sometime in life? I don't think there's any way around that, really.
Something you learn.
Something you learn. That's right. I'll take the next one. 16. You cannot perceive spiritual truth until you freely experience it. And many truths are not really felt except in adversity. So it's in adversity that the spiritual truths enlighten us. Isn't that kind of strange?
That's actually feelingly
Feelingly.
experience.
Feelingly, yeah.
They made up that English word. Feelingly.
Feelingly, that's right.
English is their second language.
That's true.
They made that up.
That's true. I don't believe that is. Millie has pointed out several words through the book through the years that she said, I don't think that is a word.
Yeah. I've never heard of that word.
Well, they did say in the beginning that they're doing it in English, but really the English language is rather poor to give proper definition to some of the things they want to say. They may not have used this word, Roger, but I remember reading it somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. It may be some old phrase from something in the past that they pulled from. Could very well be. But it's kind of funny what you said about the English language is totally true, because if you think about it, just the word love in Greek has 3 different meanings. They break it down, the different types of love. And the English interpretation of love is not like that at all. So it's just one of the many examples.
That is a word.
Yeah. So I guess they felt they could use it. They used their license on it anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's feelingly experience it.
That's right. Feelingly experience it. Diane, would you take the next one?
17. Ambition is dangerous until it is fully socialized. You have not truly acquired any virtue until your acts make you worthy of it.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, you can have ambition, okay, and make yourself very, very wealthy, very rich, okay? Those sort of ambitions can be very dangerous if you become over powerful because of your wealth, okay? Think of it that way. And until that wealth is socialized, in other words, till you learn how to use that ambition to bring things together for the whole of society and make it socialized, then you have not truly acquired any virtue to make it worthwhile in your life, right? And that's why they talk about a rich man, it is so hard for him to get to heaven, right? Why? Because he's become overly ambitious and overly selfish and not socializing that ambition to make it something good for everyone.
I
Does
get
that
it.
make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
I see that aspect. You know, when in the past, when I would go to my cabin, if it was a solo trip for like maybe for a month in the winter, you absolutely have to be ambitious.
Yeah.
You have to work or you don't survive.
You starve
But
to
there's
death,
no
would you,
other
Rodney? Yeah.
people, there's no social aspect of it.
Uh-huh.
So
Well,
I don't see how that would fit.
well, Rodney, it would be there would be a social aspect of it that you wouldn't realize, because if you don't survive after the winter, you won't be able to socialize with other people, right? That's one way to look at it. That's
Okay.
a social aspect of it, right?
Right.
The-
That's true.
You could also, I suppose, Rodney, grow spiritually in your solitude, which then when you come back, you share. They
Well,
don't
that's
say,
very true because
yeah,
that is what happens.
Yeah, yeah. That's
That's
why
cool.
drinking gets so bad in Alaska, right? The isolation. You know, people isolate themselves all winter long and they drink because they become depressed.
It's
And
an excuse,
I know it's an excuse, but
but
it
it is
happens.
true.
It
Yes.
is true.
Yeah, when we were in Alaska, when we walked into the grocery store,
The
Oh.
Costco.
it was Costco.
Yeah.
Okay, it was actually in, well, where's my daughter living?
Free. I can't remember. Let me
Okay.
see.
Where they were living in Alaska anyway. We walked into the store and it was completely full of liquor. I mean, you had to get through
The whole
liquor-
front of the store.
the liquor store, liquor part of it to get to the groceries. And then some of the groceries, there weren't many groceries on some of
There was
the.
plenty of liquor, but no
Yeah,
groceries.
not that much
you know?
groceries, yeah.
yeah, but that's also very true of poverty.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It very, very much is. All right, who just read? Now I'm lost
I
again.
did, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
did you just, okay, Rodney, would you take the next one then?
Okay. 18. Impatience.
Can you please read this?
Impatience
Quick.
is a spirit poison. Anger is like a stone hurled into a hornet's nest.
I had to learn very early in life, I had to be more patient with everything, right? And that's the truth about everything in life, because we get in a hurry to get things done, want other people to do things with us or for us or to us or whatever. And impatience comes in over and over and over again. And besides that, I was a doctor when I was younger. So what's a doctor without patience?
Exactly.
You'd be driven to drink.
That's right. But this anger is like a stone hurled into a hornet's nest. What do you think about that statement? Think about every time you get mad and you blow up at somebody or something like that. Does it ever do any good? No.
That makes you feel
Never.
crummy.
You're bound to be stoned.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Millie, did I skip over you, Jane, or did you just read that one?
I didn't hear Millie read.
No,
I
let's-
read that.
Oh, you read the, okay, Jane. will
Yeah,
you read the
impatience,
next
you
one?
remember?
Yeah, yeah. Will you read
What
the
a-
next one?
Okay. 19. Anxiety must be abandoned. the disappointments hardest to bear are those which never come.
Boy, human beings are the most guilty of this, aren't they? Right?
Mhm.
Oh, it's
Let it-
very true.
It is true. Letting anxiety and fear and, all these things keep us from making the most of our life. Really, that's what it's about. Overcoming the fears. And well, think of that movie, Defending Your Life. That was the whole theme of that whole
Yes.
movie, overcoming your fears and anxieties, right? All right. Millie, would you take the next one?
Yes. Number 20. Only a poet can discern poetry in the commonplace prose of routine existence.
What's that telling us? We have to go around with our eyes wide open, don't we? Right? We have to absorb what's going on around us. We have to realize what's going on around us. We have to innately know that everything that happens in life happens for a reason, right? And we can only grow from things that happen to us and find the, as they say, the poetry in everyday existence, because we all have to become poets, right?
Right.
Understand.
So that's like saying gleaning the treasures through the day,
That's right.
like
Every day.
picking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. In everyday life. All right. I'll take the next one. The high mission of any art is, by its illusions, to foreshadow a higher universe reality, to crystallize the emotions of times into the thought of eternity, right? So any art wants to reveal to you what is coming in eternity, in time, in the reality of the universe. And that's kind of hard to do because we live in a one-dimensional world, really, don't we?
Mhm.
Everything we see is kind of one-dimensional. It's not until we get to the mansion worlds do we actually get a dual dimension concept of the universe, right? As I said in the earlier part of this paper, it's like going from one eye to two to be able to see things, right? And that's what they're talking about here. The mission of art is for us to understand what is to come and to give us a little peek see of what's to come, right? All right. Let's see. Diane, would you take the next one, please?
22. The evolving soul is not made divine by what it does, but by what it strives to do.
So it's the effort, right, of what you try to do. Not so much as what you do, it's what you strive to do. And that comes back to the meanings of, when we find out whether we survive this life is only God the Father and the angels and the celestial beings understand our true motives, what we're trying to do, right? So that's a good thing. All right, the
So
next one.
Jesus taught that one.
Yeah, he did. He did. All right, Rodney, would you take the next one?
23. Death added nothing to the intellectual possession or to the spiritual endowment, but it did add to the experiential status, the consciousness of survival.
So that's all that death gives us, right? Is the consciousness of survival. All right. And think about it this. Even Jesus had to experience death, right? That was part of the bestowal. Okay. So each being has to go through that before they make the next step into eternity, right? Because if you think about it, when we step out of this lifetime, we step out of this lifetime into a lifetime of eternity. Okay. So that's why that's important. We understand the experiential status of the consciousness of survival. We survived death and now we go on forever. Okay.
This one reminds me of Jack LaLanne, you know, when he said all the vitamins he was taking and everything, that he would never die. Only his wife said he was so upset when he was getting ready to die.
All right.
Hmm. I wonder what she
Jane.
said.
Yeah, you were muted. She didn't hear what you said. Oh. Oh, yeah.
I think it's Millie's turn.
Millie. Millie, would you
Okay.
take the next one?
Yes. 14, the destiny of eternity.
You mean
Is-
24,
24, what did I say?
14. You're not backing up on us, are you, Millie?
I'm reading 24.
Okay, all right.
The destiny of eternity is determined moment by moment by the achievements of the day by day living. The acts of today are the destiny of tomorrow.
It's kind of like that earlier one. Life is but a day's work, do it well, right?
Yes.
We have to live every day, each and every day, and the moments of each and every day, because that builds what? The acts of each destiny of tomorrow, right? That's what builds tomorrow, is living each day till its fullest, right? All right. Let's see here. Greatness, 25, greatness lies not so much in possessing strength as in making a wise and divine use of such strength, right? So no matter how little or how much strength you have, it's the use of that strength that makes us wise and divine. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? About civilizations. If you take power and money and use it unwisely, it's of no use to you, right? But if you use it wisely, it builds civilization, right? And that's what they were talking about. All right. Diane, take the next one, please.
26. Knowledge is possessed only by sharing. It is safeguarded by wisdom and socialized by love.
There we go. So, what good is all this knowledge of all this book if you don't share it with someone? Not much good to you at all, is it? It's all about sharing it, right? And by sharing it, it becomes safeguarded by wisdom and socialized by love. Other people learn from it too, right? So people that watch these meetings that we have, when we're all dead and gone, if they're still on there, they will gain something by the wisdom and the sociality of that love that we shared, right? That's why it's so important. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
27.
Yep.
Progress demands development of individuality. Mediocrity seeks perpetuation in standardization.
All right. To grow, you have to develop individuality, right? In other words, you have to train yourself. You have to develop yourself, all right? If you're mediocre and you don't develop yourself, then you perpetrate standardization. Everybody becomes the same. There aren't any unique people. And we need unique people, each and every one of us, because we have different talents, right? And those different talents can be shared and benefit everyone, right? All right. Jane, would you take the last one there?
28. The argumentative defense of any proposition is inversely proportional to the truth contained.
The best way I can explain this is making an argument about anything is usually what? A waste of time, right? Because no matter how you try to convince somebody else that your point is correct, you may be totally wrong, and then the truth contained in it is null and void, right? All right, and that's a hard one to understand and do ourselves. Millie, would you take the last paragraph there of that section?
When I have a differences with somebody, when you know you can't win it, I am as sure that I am correct as they are that they are correct.
Uh-huh.
So don't waste your time trying to, unless it's a truth, like something out of this book that I would insist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change their mind. They're going to insist that they're going to die and go to heaven, sit on a cloud and sing to Jesus. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's your truth, and this is my truth.
This is
And
my
if-
truth. That's right. All right.
Such is the work of the beginners on the first mentioned world, while the more advanced pupils on the later worlds are mastering the higher levels of cosmic insight and Morona Moda.
So this is just the beginning, isn't it? Yeah. That's just the beginning. All right. We may actually finish this paper tonight. How about that? All right. 8 Urantia progressors. Diane, why don't you take that one? All right.
8. The Urantia progressors. From the time of graduation from the mansion worlds to the attainment of spirit status in the super universe career, ascending mortals are denominated Urantia progressors. Your passage through the wonderful borderland life will be an unforgettable experience, a charming memory. It is the evolutionary portal to spirit life and the eventual attainment of creature perfection, by which ascenders achieve the goal of time, the finding of God on paradise.
That's how we become Urantia progressors, right? We go through the mansion world and we progress through each one of these worlds and eventually find our way to paradise to stand before God. All right. Rodney, would you, that's why they're called Urantia progressors, right? Rodney, would you take the next one?
There is a definite and divine purpose in all this Urantia and subsequent spirit scheme of mortal progression. This elaborate universe training school for ascending creatures. It is the design of the creators to afford the creatures of time a graduated opportunity to master the details of the operation and administration of the grand universe. And this long course of training is best carried forward by having the surviving mortal climb up gradually and by actual participation in every step of the ascent.
So we just grow from world to world to world and keep growing as beings through time, don't we? Okay. And it's this progress, right?
Similar to Earth, on the job training.
It really is. Yeah.
That's how you learn.
That's how you learn. You do, right? Experience it a little bit at a time. That's right.
And you have good teachers.
And you have to have good teachers. Well, y'all lost out. I'm sorry. So. I know. Jane, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. The mortal survival plan has a practical and serviceable. I have to read from the book. I cannot read from the computer for some reason. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. If you'd
Okay.
like to.
The mortal survival plan has a practical and serviceable objective. You are not the recipients of all this divine labor and painstaking training only that you may survive just to enjoy endless bliss and eternal ease. There is a goal of transcendent service concealed beyond the horizon of the present universe age. If the gods designed merely to take you on one long and eternal joy excursion, they certainly would not so largely turn the whole universe into one vast and intricate practical training school, requisition a substantial part of the celestial creation as teachers and instructors, and then spend ages upon ages piloting you one by one through this gigantic universe school of experiential training. The
Further
the
runs.
furtherance of the scheme of a
You got it.
I got it. Okay.
Yep.
The furtherance of the scheme of mortal progression seems to be one of the chief businesses of the present organized universe, and the majority of innumerable orders of created intelligences are either directly or indirectly engaged in advancing some phase of this progressive perfection plan.
So I'm going to disappoint y'all. We don't sit around and eat eternal bliss and ease, do we? It's all like work to get through it all, right? And the part of this that Lucifer didn't like was what? That so many of the intelligent creatures and agencies of the universe are engaged in advancing us on this plan, right? He just didn't like it.
And we were too slow, right?
And we were too slow. That took ages upon ages upon ages to us to get there and then come back and work, right? But that's the way the plan works. As Rodney just said, on the job training, right? That's really what it is. Okay. Millie, would you take our last paragraph there for us, please?
I can do that. In traversing the ascending scale of living existence from mortal man to the deity embrace, you actually live the very life of every possible phase and stage of perfected creature existence within the limits of the present universe age. From mortal man to paradise finaliter embraces all that now can be, encompasses everything presently possible to the living orders of intelligent, perfected, finite creature beings. If the future destiny of the paradise finaliters is service in new universes, now is in the making. Now in future universes now in the making, it is assured that in this new and future creation, there will be no created orders of experimental. We are experimental here, aren't we? Experimental beings whose lives will be wholly different from those which mortal finaliters have lived on some world as a part of their ascending training. As one of the stages of their age-long progresses from animal to angel, and from angel to spirit, and from spirit to God.
And that was presented by an archangel of Nebadon. So what it's telling us here is this, that we will experience everything possible on our way to become paradise finaliters. And when we get there and start working with all those beings that's coming after us, they will experience the same things that we have from being finite beings to perfected beings, okay? And that will be our job, okay? All the way up. Now, don't anybody hang up on me. I got something I want to share with y'all after we get off. And for those at home that's listening to this, I probably ought to share this with y'all. I am going to take a short sabbatical for some medical stuff. So don't forget us completely. Please come back and see us again. We'll probably bring it back as soon as we can. So, but everybody else stay online. Let's say a short prayer and we will stop it for tonight. All right. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight that we might share this wonderful revelation. Pray that you'll be with each and every one of us, that we might keep our hearts and minds open to everyone that needs to hear this message from you, and that we might learn from this and continue to share in our daily lives. We thank you and give you the praise in your Son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. And thank you, everyone at home that comes to join us. Let's stop the recording. Go ahead and stop.